Yo, man, there's a lot of brothers out there flaking and perpetrating, scared to kick reality. Yo, man, there's a lot of brothers out there flaking and perpetrating, scared to kick reality. Get the gas up. Get the gas. Get the gas. Get the gas. Get the gas on. Load it up. Get the gas on. Load it up. Get the gas. Get the gas. Get the gas. Get the gas. Till the turbo.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, and welcome to the Choctaw Sports Hot Seat. I'm Rholdon.
And I'm Elliot Reeder.
Before we get in our interview with Annemarie Peavy, we're going to talk about Choctaw sports. First, we're going to go to the Rholdon Elliot, where the baseball team is currently 3-3. They're getting ready for the opening series of the GSC against West Alabama today at 3 o'clock. The baseball team has a lot of newcomers, Elliot, and they have a lot of athleticism and speed. They had 11 stolen bases in their opening game this season. What does the Choctaws really need to do to kind of gel and put everything together?
I think they just need to find their balance. They've had some games where the pitching staff is really dominant, and then they've had some games where it was the lineup that was carrying the team. And they've really only one game this season really put it all together and played a complete game, and that was the last game against Young Harris when they won 11-1. So if they can just put it together and have it and get it to where the offense and the pitching staff is rolling at the same time, this could be a very good team that lives up to the expectations of the last two seasons that this team has set up. Well, the women's basketball team, they're right there in the run for a spot in the GSE tournament. They just picked up a huge blowout win of Valdosta State, 76-55 on Thursday. They really pulled away in that second half. Corey, they're a half game out of a spot for the GSE tournament. Corey, what do they need to do in their last 4 games to get into the GSC tournament?
Just keep up the intensity. Last night we saw the defense really step up, especially with the full court press on Valdosta State. It's the first time since the 92-93 season that we have swept Valdosta State. The Lady Choctaws are playing fantastic. They're 10-12 on the season, 7-9 in GSC play. They just need to keep up the pressure, and I think everything will fall in place for them. The Lady Choctaw softball team is currently 4-3, and they just defeated the number 2 team in the country, the Texas A&M Kingsville, on this past Saturday. They also will start GSC play today at 6 o'clock. This Lady Choctaw softball team has a lot of talent. They're loaded across the board. They won 2 NCAA tournament games last season. High expectations in Clinton. What do you really see from this team, and what makes them so special?
I think the one thing that makes them so special is the culture that they've built in that program. Coach O'Hare has instilled a great culture in this team. They have a ton of recruits. They have a very young team this year, but they are living up to expectations so far, just buying into that culture. Well, the men's basketball team, they've struggled this year a little bit with injuries. They've had a ton of injuries across the board, but Coach Mike Jones, I think, has his program moving in the right direction. Offensively, they struggled a little bit, but he is building a great defense. He is building building blocks defensively for the basketball team. So, Corey, what do you think the basketball team needs to do these last few games to really just kind of turn around at the end of the season and head into next year?
Well, what they really need is health. This has been a tough season for Coach Jones just because their leading scorer last year, Brendan Boston's out. Then you have Scott Hunt who's out. And you have several key players that are missing. And I think all the guys are playing really hard, and they're getting a lot of experience. And I think that's going to be important. This Choctaws team next year is going to have a ton of depth, and they're going to be fun. I think Coach Jones has this team playing hard and to the best of their abilities. Now we're going to go to football. The football team signed 20 players this past Wednesday. 17 were freshmen, 2 were junior college players, and 1 was a college transfer, 4-year transfer. The football team is coming off a pretty good season, going 5-5. Elliot, what are your expectations for next season?
I have high expectations for this team. I mean, you look at how they ended the year with that blowout win over Delta State. That win really kind of set the ball rolling forward heading into next year. I think this could be a team. We saw them with a couple weeks left to go in the year. They were kind of in the running for an NCAA regionals spot. My expectations for this team is, again, to contend for a spot in regionals and to potentially make it heading into next year.
Well, that's it for the Choctaw Review. Now our interview with another Louisianian, Annemarie. Welcome back to the Choctaw Sports Hot Seat. We have Annemarie Peavy here. She was on the second team All GSC last season. She's a third baseman. How you doing today?
I'm good.
So, are you ready for, have you had some like gumbo or are you?
Not yet, but my parents are coming up this week, so I hope they bring me some.
Oh, we can start that over. That sucked. I'm sorry.
From me?
No,
Oh.
for me.
I was
like, why did I bring that up? So your parents are coming up. I can bring that up. I was like,
Yeah.
it's like Mardi Gras season. And I know you can't play, but have you got the taste and sounds? I don't know. No, I'll skip that. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Choctaw Sports Hot Seat. We now have on Annemarie Peavy. She was second team All GSC last season. She's a third baseman. How you doing today?
I'm good.
So, Annemarie, can you tell me what was your journey like to Mississippi College?
Well, it was kind of late. I didn't get recruited until going into my senior season, but it was a blessing nonetheless. So.
Can you talk about like just kind of the recruiting and who contacted you? What were your first thoughts of the college?
Well, I actually contacted Coach O'Hare through my recruiter, but at the time when I did contact her, she didn't have any like spaces for me, any money or anything. So then I kept going, and then it just happened that her third baseman decommitted due to some other issues. So then it opened up, and then we got back in contact with her, and then came to 2 camps, and then I was on the team, and I didn't even know anybody coming into it. So, yeah.
So we kind of talked about it earlier. Y'all made it to the NCAA tournament last year, and y'all won a couple of games. So what was that experience like, winning a few games in the NCAA tournament and getting that experience under your belt as a player and as a team?
Well, the NCAA tournament was actually kind of a roller coaster. We were blessed that we got a bid to go there, and it was very beneficial to be in those games and be with the people that I was with. We definitely beat the odds, and we lost that first game, but then we came back the next day and we beat 2 teams, and it just didn't happen in our favor, but we put in a great fight.
So you have a lot of expectations, but the culture of the softball team and the softball program right now is pretty special. We see you guys out in practice kind of dancing. Abby's always doing some kind of weird chants. Can you just talk about your teammates and that culture?
Well, we're definitely fun. We're starting to get a lot of Louisiana people on the team, so that craziness is definitely showing. But I think everybody just has such a outgoing personality that when we're all together, it just meshes, and we just have a really good time.
So what is your favorite chant that y'all do, like Abby?
Well, I can say Abby's favorite chant is "They don't want that smoke," but I don't know. We have a few that are really good and catchy, and I like a lot of them.
So y'all recently knocked off the number 2 team ranked preseason in Texas A&M Kingsville. Can you just walk me through that win? I recently talked to Coach O'Hare, and she said it was pretty much a flawless game. So can you just kind of talk about that win? It was really almost a blowout win pretty much of a top-ranked team. So can you just walk me through that upset?
Yeah, so Coach, going into it, not very many people, I know myself, I didn't know that they were number 2. So going into it, Coach O'Hare did a really good job of not putting that in our head and putting that kind of extra pressure on us. So we just kind of went out there and going off the loss of Henderson, we just played our game and we played MC ball. And when we play MC ball, we're very dangerous to other teams, and that is the result of a 8-1 win.
So you're from Louisiana, and what kind of, the culture of Louisiana is so kind of intoxicating, so to speak. What has the culture of Louisiana really done for you in your life?
It's definitely opened my eyes to the different cultures everywhere else. But for me, being from Louisiana, you just have a different kind of you have fun, but you're also kind of to yourself. I don't know, I'm biased, but I love Louisiana.
You got that swag, right?
Yeah.
So can you just talk to me about Coach O'Hare and what she does as a coach that's so special, and what she kind of does for the culture and for recruiting and that kind of thing?
Coach O'Hare is like a second mom when you're far away from home. She kind of steps into that role. She cares a lot about the people she recruits, and she makes it known that she believes in you, even when you're having a rough time. She really tries to put you first, and she puts schools first, and she puts God first. So it's with her, it's not, you're pressured to only focus on softball. Like, she knows you have other struggles, and she really just tries to care for you in that way.
So, if you had to pick one Disney character that would best, like, a symbol or, like, who you are, what would that Disney character be?
I was told either Charlotte from Princess and the Frog or Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell or Charlotte? All right, what about you, Elliot?
I'd probably say like one of the aliens from Toy Story.
The aliens from Toy Story. I got to go with Simba from The Lion King. So.
All right, so can you tell me who is the best dancer on the softball team?
Oh, gosh. It'd have to be Rain Minor. It'd have to be.
Another Louisiana?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right. What about not Gracie?
Gracie's not really a dancer. She can
okay.
dance, but she doesn't really bust out her moves that much.
All right, all right. So, back to a Louisiana question. What is the best artist from Louisiana?
It's a no-brainer. It's Lil Boosie.
Oh. Gotta disagree. We're gonna take this one back to the 99 and 2000, back to Juvenile. We're gonna keep this like in this kind of era, right? And no offense to Louis Armstrong, and Fats Domino, but we're gonna keep this with the current rappers, right?
Right.
It's definitely Juvenile. Definitely Juvenile. He changed the game.
I mean, they're all good.
New
They're all
Orleans
from
bounce
Louisiana,
music.
so they're all good.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, so Annemarie, what is kind of your pregame go-to music? What kind of music do you like to listen to kind of get yourself going and get yourself in the mood to go out and play softball?
I don't know. Gorilla Zoe really gets me up there, and Lil Boosie, and
Set It Off?
Yeah, yes, that one really goes hard.
What about you? Like, you getting ready, about to do a show?
I really like some Seven Nation Army, a little bit.
Seven Nation Army?
Gonna get me pumped up.
I'm weird. You ready?
Yeah.
Game of Thrones music.
Oh.
Game of Thrones music gets me ready, gets me, rocking and rolling.
Yeah, you are weird then.
Well, that's it for the Choctaw Sports Hot Seat. I'm Corey Rholdon.
I'm Elliot Reeder.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.